Welcome back, everyone. It's currently the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. Millions of people displaced, tens of thousands killed. But with so much focus on Ukraine, Gaza, and Iran, many don't know the horrors playing out inside of Sudan. It's difficult to get information, but the U.S. says genocide is taking place, harkening back to dark days of decades ago. In tonight's Prime Focus, Ian Pannell and our team have spent months hearing from people on the ground and piecing together some of the atrocities playing out. And tonight, as this conflict has now passed 1,000 days of fighting, we listen to the women caught in the crosshairs of a war they did not ask for.
Imagine that your entire city of 1 million people completely shut off from the rest of the world. No one is allowed out. No food or water or supplies like medicine are allowed in. And you're dealing with bomb strikes.
أنا بفتش في ولدي عشان بلقاه ما لقيته الناس قالوا كله بقول لي يمكن مع الناس الميتين.
It's a country tragically familiar with the brutality of man and far from the eyes of the world. Harrowing accounts of what the US government now calls a new genocide in Sudan. Civilians once again trapped between two warring sides. A conflict between the rebel group known as the RSF and the Sudanese military, raging for over 1,000 days. In late October of 2025, videos exposed gruesome mass killings by the RSF in Sudan's Darfur region. It's been the world's worst humanitarian crisis for the last 2 years. More than 30 million desperately need help. And yet this is a crisis largely out of sight, out of mind. A darkness has descended on El Fasher, a city cut off from the outside world. The IRC estimating nearly 250,000 people trapped inside. The rebel RSF accused of carrying out door-to-door massacres. The crimes committed visible from space. ABC's visual verification team has documented 48 hours of hell posted online by gloating RSF fighters. At El Fasher University, where civilians sought refuge, armed RSF rebels walk into the halls, filled with bodies, posting these graphic videos of their attacks, evidence of a massacre broadcast to the world. And this is what happened when civilians tried to flee the city. Satellite images show a cluster of objects visible by a berm built by the RSF. Verified video on the scene shows its dozens of charred vehicles and lifeless bodies. The militants celebrating the aftermath of a slaughter. According to the UN Refugee Agency, more than 12 million people in Sudan have fled their homes. Jamila Ismail, who's a mother of 7, fled El Fasher with her children. Her son shot during the chaos. Aid groups are at a loss, struggling to fund and access the most basic resources. 26-year-old Heba Al-Adin is helping people who were displaced when the violence broke out, despite having to flee from another part of Sudan that was attacked. She's now working from a mobile clinic with the Sudan Family Planning Association.
Today we are in Al-Afad camp in a Debba state, which people from Al Fasher have been displacement here in this camp. Through our mobile clinic, we are providing reproductive health and gender-based violence services.
But due to internet blackouts, she was only able to send us these voice messages explaining what her life has been like since.
The needs in the camp are growing every day. Life has been difficult. I have seen families fleeing in fear, mothers holding their children with nothing in their hands. I hear the stories of loss, pain, and uncertainty, and I feel the deep responsibility to stand with them.
The tragedy for Sudan is that this is history repeating itself.
As many as 300,000 people have died in Darfur, more than 2.5 million homeless.
2 decades ago, the word Darfur echoed across the world.
Some human rights groups are calling what's happening here ethnic cleansing.
As similar scenes unfolded, up to 2 million deaths, 1 million more displaced, sparking global outrage.
In my country, wars have ended, but peace has never come.
Emi Mahmoud is a Sudanese-American poet born and raised in Darfur. She uses her pen to raise awareness around the world of what her life was like in Sudan.
And the last time we went home, We watched our village burn. Soldiers pouring blood from civilian skulls as if they too could turn water into wine.
When's the last time you were back in Sudan?
2018 December, when the revolution started. My hometown, El Fasher, and Darfur, is a continuation of the Darfur genocide. What's so ironic about all of this is that we're experiencing genocide and living in poverty, and yet we're sitting on some of the largest gold reserves in the entire world, and that's what the fight is about. Two warring parties funded by so many world powers.
The US State Department has said both sides are committing war crimes and that the RSF is committing genocide.
When you're in a conflict, often the rules of war get tossed out the window, and things are done in silence.
Dr. Tom Katina works in the Nuba Mountains in Sudan, opening up his own hospital in 2008, which was nearly bombed decades ago.
The feeling is one of just intense fear. I think there's no other way to describe it.
Here it comes.
And he believes his community was targeted again, sending us this update after he returned home.
There was a drone strike in our local area a few miles from here. A couple weeks ago, there were about over 40 fatalities. So we're standing by and ready for whatever comes our way. This is how wars are. If you target a hospital, imagine the demoralizing effect that has on those people. One of the main problems in Sudan and all of rural Africa is access to health care.
Back in those aid camps, the stark reality of war is taking its toll.
معنا شديد يعني وجع وجاع في الجسم وفي ظهر يعني ما في أي إنسانية يقول المرة دي حامل ولا المرة دي عندها كده ولا عندها شفها في ظهرها ولا شفها في يدينا.
Nadra Ahmed is one of over 140 pregnant women at the Al-Daba camps in northern Sudan, walking 25 miles through RSF strongholds with her children. She was 7 months pregnant, fleeing El Fasher days prior to the attacks.
أنا ما مرقت وأنا حامل بطفلي ده تعب شديد لدرجة خيالي وأنا شايلة الطفل في ظهري تاني والطفل ده في بطني ولسه هضرب فكر عيني.
Despite attempts to broker a peace deal, today, 1,000 days since it began, the fighting continues.
Sudan Baladi means Sudan is my home. There's still hope, because if our families on the ground who are surviving are not losing hope, I don't have a right to lose hope.
Hope is what sustains them now. Our thanks to Ian Pannell for that. And while we just saw civilians have been unable to escape the violence, today the World Food Program estimated more than 21 million people are facing acute hunger in Sudan. And to continue the aid that they're supplying, they would need $700 million. Coming up, the major coaching change in New York City. The Giants get a Super Bowl winning coach and the Pokemon robbery caught on camera.